Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Daniel Olexa, Master Certified Life Coach and Transcend founder and CEO of Transcendent Living. Welcome to Rise Up, where we talk about how to get above normal circumstances, how to achieve above normal results, which is the definition of transcendence. When I'm talking with people, whether it's professionally or personally, there's always that classic question that probably a lot of you get as well of what is it exactly that you do? And over the years, I've found that my description of it has changed from a very high umbrella concept of I help people live their ideal life to now, after really thinking about it over the past few months, even the past year, of distilling down what is it that I do. I think I can describe it now as helping individuals get out of a reactionary or a reaction state of mind that's strictly survival mode thinking and move into creating their life intentionally. And what's the difference between those two words? Well, when we think about reaction, it's when we're stuck in fight or flight, when we're in survival mode, like I've already said, and we feel like we are at the effect of the world. Things are happening to us, things are happening around us, and we don't have control. And actually, I made this graphic. Let's take a peek at this journey. What I've noticed over the years is there are 5 basic energetic states and experiences that those who work with me go through. When they first come in, they are in that reaction mode that I was just talking about. Things are happening to them. They don't feel like they have the ability to make a change. Very much in a victim mindset and wondering, is this all there is in life? Because this is not so much fun. But as we have those conversations, there's a recognition that if they were only in that reaction phase of things happening to them and fully believed that life couldn't be any better than this moment of how they're experiencing life, they wouldn't be looking for help. So within them, as you can see in that burned out light bulb that's smoking, just like the person who's burned out is still probably fuming and blowing off some smoke, there's still a spark of life and light in there. And that's the spark that we first protect and then fan those flames so that they can go from reaction to creation, where in creation, the individual's in full control of their life, creating their life intentionally and with focus, and shining their light as a beacon for others to see. So going from this burned out light bulb to the full on lighthouse effect. And in between, there's 3 basic steps. The first level of any change is awareness, of knowing things and becoming aware that we're not only generating our experience, but we can create a new one, and becoming aware of how we've been living. Then there's the typical, we go a few steps back. The old and familiar comes back. We'll be talking about that today. And then there's the moment of full illumination and breakthrough that allows that light to shine bright, be protected, and then start shining even brighter. For this conversation today, I'm going to focus just on reaction because it's where most people are. So I'm going to drop that image to the side and come back so I can see you full. You can see me full. There was a big event that happened here in the US exactly 2 weeks ago, and I see a number of people still in reaction to that event because it didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. It actually didn't turn out the way I wanted it to either. But we can't live in fear of what might be. Sure, we can make projections. We can think about what might happen. Hasn't happened yet, and it might not. Right here in this moment, we can either mourn over what took place 2 weeks ago, and there is certainly a place and time to mourn and be in grief over situations like that. Or we could be worried about what's to come that hasn't happened yet. That taps our energy. That's another drain on our mental and physical and emotional resources. Or we can be right here, right now, standing in our power with what can we do in this moment with what is, rather than worrying about one thing or another. One thing we can't change, it's over and done. What can we do differently in the space of what's happening around us? And that's when we start putting up our boundaries, our protection, that the world isn't coming in anymore. Sure, the wind still blows every now and then. Live in California, the earth moves. Those things happen. It doesn't mean that we have to be thrown off our grounding and balance. So typically when a person begins working with me, they're very much in that mode of feeling off balance, feeling ungrounded, just not knowing what to do. And sometimes feel frustrated, like a failure, that things can only be one way, because all we know in that moment is what has been and what our expectations were, what our experiences were of what was, and maybe our expectations of what we want to be. And if those things don't match what our true desires are for how we want to live our lives, we get into this frustration mode. But it doesn't have to be that way. What happened before does not have to predict where we go in the future when we take control back. We don't have to be frustrated. We don't have to feel stuck. We don't have to feel like we're misunderstood or in conflict, because if we stay there, that's the future we keep creating. We keep looking for problems. You're going to find more problem. You want proof that life is terrible? It'll line up and take numbers and say, I'm next. Here, let me show you the next way that life is miserable. When someone starts shifting out of that mode in our work together, coming to realization of how they are actually creating their experiences by the thoughts and feelings they have about what's going on around them, whether it's in their life or in their business, with their coworkers. Think about that as a leader. If you are frustrated, how are you leading? Probably not with a lot of efficacy. If you're calm, if you're centered, even if things are going wrong around you, how will you lead? How will you show up for those who are coming along behind you looking for your guidance? That's where we come in and take back control of self. Begins with shifting awareness of that you're even in that state. Sometimes don't even recognize we're there because we just fall into it from so much familiar experience. But once you know that you don't have to be there, you can start taking back your control and choosing. And that's what I really work with people to do, is choosing their responses to life rather than being in reaction. Reaction comes from our gut. It is that fight or flight. And when we're stressed out because of so much noise, so much stuff going on in the world, it's easy to want the shorthand answer, to just get it off your plate, deal with what's right in front of you in this moment. And there's not a lot of intentionality in that. It's just get me out of the frying pan, take the heat away. And how many times when you do that do you actually wind up in the fire, rather than choosing to be somewhere else and choosing a direction and a path forward? What happens when you come to that? That's when you start embracing more of a growth mindset of what else is possible. You get a little more curious of what is possible. You start to experiment a little bit more because you recognize there's no mistakes or failures. There's only opportunities. And no matter what I do, I'll learn from it. Even if it doesn't turn out the way I expect it to, there's something here for me to learn that keeps me moving forward. In that reactionary mode, there's a lot of judgment of it's right or it's wrong. We move into toward creation. We start recognizing there's only possibilities. There's only actions. And every action we take moves us further and further away from the stuck point, feeling like everything is happening to us, and into that space of intentional creation of we can now happen to life. We can create our life forward. We can create the outcomes that we dream of creating. We can be the leader, be the parent, be the individual that we dream of being, by taking focused, intentional action and carrying that forward as ownership of self and ownership of our experience. If this resonates with you, if you're feeling and I understand it, I have no judgment on it. If you're feeling frustrated, burned out, angry, and in a little bit of like a victim mindset, let's talk. Because that's exactly the place, particularly if you have a dream and an awareness that things could be different, that this ain't working for you. What's the shift there to bring that deeper light forward that's telling you it can be different? That's the thing for us to talk about. Let's have a conversation about it. Now, what I want to offer to everyone watching, if you are watching this video prior to Saturday, December 7th at 9 a.m. Pacific, you have an opportunity to join me for a guided group meditation to shift those who are there from reaction to creation, addressing those stuck points, addressing those emotions and beliefs that might be holding you back from fully breaking through and opening up the possibility of where you can go next. I'm doing it on Saturday, December 7th, because the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And let's leave it all behind in 2024. Open up 2025 with a new growth mindset to create success before New Year's Day ever gets here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this message with those around you who are feeling the effects and the frustration and are feeling stuck. It can be changed, and you can change your life. You can change the way you feel about it, the way you experience it. Others around you might tell you life sucks and then you die, and that's just the way it is. That's their problem, not yours. They've bought into the lie. If you want it to be different, believe in the truth, and that's where we go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I will see you again on the next edition of Rise Up. Be well.